Vegreville Agricultural Society. Dear distinguished community members, the Vegreville Agricultural Society will be holding the annual country fair on August the 4th to the 8th, 2021. The parade will be on Wednesday, August the 4th at 11 a.m. Parade lineup will be at 10 a.m. at the Vegreville Composite High School, heading east down 55 Ave, turning south down 60th Street, and then east on 45th Ave, and finishing at the Ag Society grounds. Following the parade, we would like to invite you to the Social Center for refreshments, light snacks at 12:45. The parade award presentation will take place. We are requesting from council to have the above roads closed for the parade, which typically last 1 hour. Sincerely, Rachel Farr, Office Manager. So this will come up for a motion on Monday. And I got another part here too, on the back. Dear Mr. McPhee, the Vegreville Agricultural Society will be having a short welcoming on the grandstand stage on Wednesday, August 4th at 4:50 to start off the 2021 Deerland Country Fair. We'd like you to join us and bring greetings from the town of Vegreville. After the greetings are complete, you are most welcome to watch the chariot and chuck wagon races and take in some of the other activities we offer. We kindly indicate if you can attend by replying to our office. Rachel Farr, Office Manager. Well, I can definitely attend, and I would encourage as many councillors as they can to, we will be in the parade. We will have a float, correct? Who's in charge of the floats now? Sandra? Okay, well, is there anybody that will not be able to make the parade? Look at that, 100%. Sweet. Okay. So on the road closure, that'll come up on the council meeting, so.
That's a totally different road.
It is, oh, for sure, yeah. Starting at the comp.
I'm just, sorry, I apologize. I'm bad for, honestly, when just thinking of the street names, I think of everything in the word, but is this not completely excluding Main Street?
I think Dale can explain this one.
Sorry.
The information came from the Ag Society on a post that said due to the Capital Works road construction of 50th Street, they were moving the parade route. We contacted Rachel and let her know that we would be able to work around this because the construction isn't starting on Main Street. The concrete works will be starting the first week of August, but our contractor said he'd be more than happy to back up and stay off the sidewalks until things are over. And she replied to our office that no, it wasn't because of the construction, it was because of COVID and wanting to keep a bigger area for people to separate a little bit more than being so congested. So it's not about downtown.
Well, okay, well, it's their decisions to make, and it's our decision to close the road, so we'll make that decision on Monday. Okay, next up, I have a letter from the Village of Caroline. Proclamation that the Council of the Village of Caroline request a full and immediate independent public inquiry into the deaths related to the recent discovery of the unmarked mass graves, 215 Indigenous children from the residential school in Kamloops, as well as all deaths related to residential schools programs across Canada. Such a public inquiry should be conducted by independent investigators not directly connected to the federal government. From the Mayor of Caroline. Any thoughts on that? Okay. Go ahead.
I guess I'm just wondering, are they just presenting that to us for information purposes? I'm just wondering whether they were aware that before Parliament rose, there was a federal motion by the NDP supported by the Conservatives that passed, which was in regards already to basically looking through full disclosure for those records. So I'm just wondering whether this was just presented as information or whether they were had an ask of us in some way.
Go ahead, Cliff.
This came through as information to all urban municipalities in Alberta.
Okay.
Okay, and we also have received some correspondence from Fairview, the village of Rocky Ford, the county of 40 Mile number 8, village of Holden. I think that's all of them. And it's regarding support for the RCMP staying as the police force in Alberta. So I don't know if anybody's opinion has changed. I know mine hasn't until we have any more, to get some more facts, that we are not going to write a letter of support. It's not that we have anything against the RCMP. We actually like the job they do here in our community. But the fact that without some numbers to what the cost will be to moving towards provincial police force, I don't think we should say too much right now. I know that tomorrow AUMA is having some discussions about this with municipalities, so I got an invitation yesterday for it, so we will hear what AUMA has to say about it, and I'll bring it back to council, so. Okay, so that's it for everything that was on the agenda. We'll start with our round table and what we've heard in the community. We're gonna start with Councillor Lemko today.
Yes, Your Worship. I have one item that I'd like to address. I had a call on Sunday morning, or actually a text on Sunday morning regarding someone who was burning what they said was toxic fumes, and the smell was going through their neighborhood. They wanted to know what could be done about it. So, being that it's a weekend on Sunday, what would be our procedure or policy to advise citizens when they ask that? Because I believe bylaw is not working weekends, so what would be the recourse?
That would be to call the fire services. There's always somebody on call, and then that would be investigated. And if there was any further recourse, that would be brought to either municipal enforcement or the RCMP. All burning in town requires a permit.
Yeah, and then they just responded that the people who were burning stopped burning whatever they were burning, but and I just advised that I would discuss it and get back to them. So that's it. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Waters.
Okay, I had a question from a new resident of Vegreville, so that was exciting to see, first of all, new people around town. They purchased a residence where there's no back alleys, and they come from a community that is huge on recycling and really into composting. And I know we had this discussion before about rollout bins for, I believe it was composting or recycling in areas without back alleys. So if we can just be reminded maybe as to where that got left off.
It will be coming forward in the 2022 budget for council consideration.
Perfect. I will let her know that. Also, this individual was trying to contact me through our website with the email link, and it wasn't working. So maybe if we can just check into our website a little bit, make sure all the links are working for the counselors and whatever else they're trying to get at. I checked it out a few weeks ago, but it didn't work for me. But it doesn't mean I was not doing something wrong. But
So you're saying that people can go on the website and search out Councillor Waters and click on it and they should go directly to you?
that was my assumption, yeah. That's what she was trying to do. It's supposed to work, yeah, just go automatically. Because they don't know our email addresses, right?
Jameson, can you tell us, is that the function of our site? Does that happen?
It should. You'll have to bear with me a moment as.
You don't need to give us, yes, but that, in theory, it should work.
Yeah, theoretically, there is a page presently on the website that features every member of council as well as contact details. So, admittedly, it's not something that I've spent a lot of time on. It's a large website and there's a lot of components to it. I'll take a look. Councillor Waters, to ensure that you guys are easily accessible.
Appreciate it, thank you. And just one last thing, I know at the Pisanka Park, the playground there, we're looking at expansion and enhancing that area, that's terrific. It's well used, but for grandparents, there's not a lot of seating. I'm pretty sure one of the benches, or a couple of the benches, were taken away in the anticipation of starting the project sooner. I don't know if we can have more picnic tables or something out there, staged a little bit better. The ground was a far ways away from me. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Duly noted, I take it. Excellent.
I'll arrange to have some picnic tables taken there this week.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Riddick?
I have a few. I had somebody that watched our new format online and they wanted to know what our names are. So duly noted, I'm sure that we're not quite there yet because we're not fully set up in this space yet, but they wondered if, when we're speaking, if that's something that can be identified, and I said, I'm not sure. But they were quite impressed with the setup and very happy to see that it's easy to watch. Apparently this is very exciting, what we do here. Yeah, I know. I know. Then I had a question similar to actually Councillor Lemko about grass cutting and concerns therein of town-owned and managed areas, as well as trees on the boulevard. So the two questions there would be, who's responsible for maintaining the town area that is our boulevard or our grass maintenance areas? We've talked about this a long time ago, maybe not frequently, or recently again, talking about the schedule for grass maintenance. So this specific area is the 47th Street Park. So that area where there's trees, some of that has not been weed whipped by the town except with regular grass cutting. So their concern they wanted to have a way to be able to lodge their concern with the town, which wouldn't be picking up a phone on a weekend and calling me. But I don't know if there's a capacity on the website or a place to be able to say this area needs to be weed whipped. And another question in that vein was trees on the boulevard. Who's responsible for them? Who takes care of them? If somebody is to cut a tree on a boulevard or maintain it, is that a good thing or a bad thing? So those are those questions. And then the last one I had was cemetery. I haven't looked, but our update in our cemetery master plan included a portion that was going to have some of it online. Is that in place? I had somebody ask me, because they did go through and talk to somebody at the town office, and I know that we have the very ancient document that shows, 1915, who was buried at what plot, but they were hoping that they could click and be able to go online, because of course they were coming on a weekend. So I don't know if that's available online, so, sorry, those are a few of those questions.
Dale's gonna answer your question about a couple of these issues.
The cemetery, we have an ArcView program here that has been loaded with all of the information at the cemetery. You can click on each site and it'll show you the resident information that you need. That system is just here. It's not something that's out at the landfill at this point. It was included in the master plan as something that was going to happen, but the master plan did take a rest for a few years because of budgets. And now we're back to getting the gate was built, the entrance was built, so when we can, we're going back to the cemetery master plan and seeing what we can afford and what's next. This year, the only thing that we've done really was include phase 4 out of 5 for paving the rest of the areas inside the cemetery, and next year will be one more. So all I can say is that it's in the plan, and every year we bring up something that we feel we can afford. So the programming is done and it's here. I just don't know what it's gonna cost to incorporate it, so you can go to the cemetery and have the UR here, and and pick the sites, and you can find your relatives. You can type in their names; it'll show you where they're at. That's something that's still in the plan, but not ready for this year's budget.
So
Sorry.
go ahead. So were the people, were they asking more if they were looking to purchase a piece of land, or were they?
Visiting.
Oh,
were visiting.
they were looking at locations.
Yes, they thought calling me on a weekend would be the appropriate way to be able to find their relative,
Okay.
which, I didn't know. But that's a good answer, and I guess that's one of the things too, that they had thought, similar to other, I guess I don't visit a lot of cemeteries, that you can go online and, like you had described in the past, that you could type that in on your phone, but some towns have on their website, the ability to be able to type in the name and find the location. I don't know.
Jameson and we'll just bounce some ideas and see if that's something that's possible or how difficult or expensive it'll be, for sure.
So we gotta
We
take
were-
that great big book upstairs and turn it into a map online.
It's already digital now.
It is.
Oh, it
yeah.
is, okay.
That's already done, so it may not be that difficult. What I thought you were referring to was the information board when you get there, that you could be interactive as opposed to pulling it up on your phone, but that might be just as, be easier actually. So-
Well, and I'm not familiar with extensive visiting of cemeteries, but apparently this is what they're familiar with.
Yep.
So either one would be
I will look
useful.
into it, because that's a little different angle than what we had in the master plan, because the master plan is getting old and technology is changing, so that's a good thought, thank you.
So Phil, what can you tell us about, I know myself in the last 3 weeks, I've had probably 6 people a little upset that we mowed lawns, but we didn't whippersnip around any pieces of equipment. What do you got?
Okay, in terms of the complaints, we do have an online complaint concern form on the website where it's under municipal enforcement. So anybody can go on there and complete the form, and it comes directly to Vagtown, and then it's distributed to the appropriate director when that email comes in, and we'll address it right away. In terms of the weed whacking, yes, that is Parks' responsibility. However, it's kind of been put off on the back burner for a little bit because we're trying to get ahead of watering. We've got every possible tool we have in our arsenal to keep watering and all the plants and trees that we have planted right now, which is, we've just made that our priority right now. So I think 47th Street was weed whacked just recently, because I just went and looked at it, and it doesn't look bad at all, but there are some areas that, yeah, weed whacking needs some more, so.
I think they felt it was waist high. So it hadn't been done, and they did it themselves, but it was a renter that was in their space, and it hadn't been done this spring by the renter. So it's great that it's done, and I'm glad that there's an online form, because I think that alleviates, kind of the concern that Councilor Lemko or any of us have, so that people can easily find a way to be able to put a question in so that it can get addressed. And
also I am working with the Parks Department, hopefully for 2022 to significantly reduce the amount of weed whacking we're doing by expanding some mulch around our trees and some of the areas that they weed whack, like the posts at Pesanka Park, when we put in the new concrete bollards. We're actually gonna look at digging out a bit of a swale and putting in mulch, so that when the lawnmowers go by there, they can just make one quick pass, and like I say, they don't have to weed whack around 150 posts, which it takes a lot of time. So yeah, we're constantly looking at ways that we can move some stuff and reduce the amount of weed whacking time.
Well, I would strongly encourage all citizens to be real about their expectations at times. I mean, I know I've watched Parks for the last month, basically going as flat out watering everything we have, not to lose our inventory of trees and shrubs and flowers. So I know that to walk out your back door and to see that something didn't get weed whacked today can maybe upsetting, but the fact is that we only have so many dollars, so many people, and when priority is to try to keep plants and trees and stuff alive, I mean, everybody's just gotta be able to take that into consideration, so. And what about the trees?
The question was, trees on the boulevard, who's responsible for it? I think we all assembled here know that, but I think maybe the public is maybe unfamiliar or needs a reminder, whose property is the tree on the boulevard and who's responsible for maintaining it?
So any tree that is on a town property or a town boulevard becomes the property of the town, and hence does the maintenance for it, so.
Okay, thank you.
So they can go online?
What's that?
They can go online and have a complaint?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's, if they see that there's some tree maintenance that's required, absolutely. And again, that, I'm looking at for 2022, a tree inventory program. Quite frankly, we have a lot of trees out there, and having some information on them, when things are maintained. But again, I've seen it myself. There's a lot of trees on 47th that need some pruning, especially the bottoms with a lot of suckers. But again, it comes down to time and priority, so.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Councilor Worley.
I just have a couple. One of these was addressed before. I know we had asked about at the library, the washrooms. I know we're just waiting on AHS to finish up there. I just wanted to bring it forward again because I've heard from a couple people. So should we be in a situation of possibly where they might extend past the July? I think at that point we would have to look at maybe potentially making both washrooms unisex and at least opening one of them up if it should be too long. So I just want to throw that out there because I've had a couple people reach out and be like, we really need to start getting a washroom back in if we're opening fully with the library because it's making it a little bit difficult. So if you get any indication from AHS that we're going past that July date, maybe we can consider that. That was one of them. And then my other two are more just kind of a little bit of a comment or a question. I believe this one maybe goes to either Jameson or Sandra. I've noticed that I'm getting quarantine messages, so it kind of relates to the one there. I'm getting quarantine messages, but they seem to be several days afterwards. And I'm just wondering what process, if we need to just email you guys and let you know, like even my own home email, I can't send it, quarantines all my messages. So I'm concerned that I might be missing other ones from other people because sometimes there'll be an email I can't find or the quarantine seems to come up and not tell me that it's been quarantined for several days. So I'm just wondering, should it go to you then?
If it's coming from like your town email address?
Yeah.
Or even your work email address, going to your town email address, anytime it has your name in it, the sending email, it's gonna quarantine to stop the phishing when they
Okay.
hijack your names and stuff like that. So I would contact Shine-A-Tech. It's probably best to speak with them directly
Sure.
versus coming through us to be third person. Contact them directly and let them know what addresses you would like put on a trusted senders list. And that should stop all the quarantining from your personal email and your work email to your town email.
Okay, that's perfect. So it makes sense that because it had my name attached, because I just wanted to make sure it wasn't also happening with other ones, just because there's that bit of delay. So that's
And-
perfect.
And it's part of the security features that are built in with Office 365. If it comes from your own name, they like to quarantine it to prevent the spam and the phishing and the viruses and everything
Okay,
like that.
yeah, no, that makes sense. That's perfect. And then my last one, I guess, is more general, mainly because we are televised. I've just had lots of people reach out to me, whether they have concerns that are, or reach out to me, reach out on social media platforms. But I just want to reiterate again, when we see something, take it somewhere other than social media platforms, because you don't know that things are being dealt with or done. There are situations that potentially we shouldn't take for granted that this little thing is some kids doing a vandalism or some kids hanging out. If you're seeing things, we need to report issues to the police, report issues to us. Do not assume that because you're all talking about it on Rant and Rave or another site, that it has gone to an appropriate body to deal with. Because there's been a few issues brought to me that when I've reached out just to see what the follow-up was, there was no actual complaint made. So I just would like to throw that.
Well said. If you see something that shouldn't be going on in our community, please do the appropriate thing and let the authorities know, because everybody's just assuming that somebody reported it. It's not working, so. Thank you. Councilor Brajek.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I've had a couple of contacts this week. The first one was from somebody that mentioned that we have a few sidewalks that are buckling and are causing quite a lot of danger,
A trip hazard?
trip hazard, especially for somebody pushing a stroller. So I'll contact Public Works to let them know where those are at. They are in highly visible locations and highly used locations. So one is by the Vegreville Vet Clinic, the entrance going into the mall, into the Galleria Mall. So the entrance on the west side on 60th Street. And the other one is the entrance going into the Homesteader Garden Inn on 60th, or on 50th Avenue on the main highway. So those two are trip hazards.
Have you seen them yourself?
Yes, and they are
Yeah,
definitely,
is there any remnants of red paint left on them?
they are not marked at all.
Okay. I'll
They're
put
not
them on
marked,
the list. Okay.
I also had a request from a resident, a few residents actually, for an extra green bin to be put into their back alley. So I contacted Public Works to see if that could be a possibility, and the bin has already been delivered. It's in an area that has an empty space with a lot of grass, and that bin was constantly full. So definitely the need for two bins there. So thank you to Public Works for looking after that. And also I had a lot of comments on our fireworks display this year and how much people enjoyed it. They thought that it was just wonderful. They couldn't say enough about it. So kudos to our Community Services Director and the Vegreville Fire Department for putting on the fireworks.
Shooter.
And I also had, the last request is a little bit unusual, and it's regarding the Don Mazinkowski bronze statue that's over at the museum right now. And they wanted to know what the plans were for that statue. I said, we haven't really discussed a whole lot yet, but they suggested that possibly it could be relocated to a more prominent, visible location on Mazinkowski Way, downtown. So I said I would definitely bring that up to council for discussion. And that is it. That's all I had.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and there is a bit of a plan for the Mazinkowski statue already, so we'll. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, I was given or heard about kudos to the fireworks. They felt that a lot of people are posting and saying that they're great. The paddle boats are a big hit. I drive by there all the time, and I see them in use quite frequently. Most everything I heard have been quite positive. There's just one, it might be getting addressed soon, but I had a couple walking by my place now that the new walkway is set up, the traffic has increased. And they asked me a question about the sidewalk just right beside where the road goes into the ball diamonds, just a bit south of that on the east side. There was a power pole in the middle of the sidewalk, and the cement had been taken out around it. And it's been sitting there for months with just barricades. And they were trying to figure out when is that going to get finished. When I drove by there today, I noticed the power pole has been moved. So I'm assuming that cement will be put back in there soon?
The same as the sidewalks with Councillor Brodziak, the miscellaneous sidewalk is going to be after we do the crosswalks on Main Street. That same contract, when he finishes those, he has to get that done before we can mill and overlay Main Street. Then from there, he'll move to miscellaneous and pick those up for sure.
Well, obviously the power poles got moved, so,
Yeah.
it is just ready for cement now. Other than that, I'll jokingly say I've been out of town for quite a bit because the museum and the corn maze is in the county, so I haven't been around town a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I've had quite a few calls, and, most of them are very positive, and, but I did have one I want to concentrate on today, and it's from a resident on the east side of town, and regarding people that are speeding when they're leaving town going east, and it's not the first time she's phoned me. So I've asked Phil's department to put up our flashing sign there to keep track of the speeds that are going through there and hopefully just slow some people down. But my question would be, if we have in a commercial area 60 kilometers all the way out the highway, why in that residential leaving town on the east side are we at 70 when we first leave town? So I would like to propose that we take a look at that and we bring that down to at least past the residential from 70 to 60. I mean, all that commercial area is 60 leaving town to the west, and there's residents on the other side of town going east. I mean, I haven't talked to her since we put that sign up, and I'm hoping people are realizing that they are going a little fast when they're leaving town. And I feel that it would be appropriate in front of houses. We have it at 60 when we have past the police station at 60 and going the other way. So we could get a report on that, or what? Who decides? That's the Department of Transportation.
That was the Department of Transportation on the west side of town with the construction of the previous Chrysler dealership. To accommodate the type of intersection that he installed, we had to reduce the speed right down to 60, so the intersection would qualify without acceleration and deceleration lanes that met their standards, because these are a little bit smaller and narrower. So that's why that one went from 80 down to 60 there, and that's why it's not at 60 on the east end of town, because it doesn't have that type of intersection or struggle with that type of intersection.
Well, I would like to get a report or take a look at maybe up past, at least to the residents that are on the Highway 16A, that it's 60 until you get past their houses. And take a look at that. I mean, is that a request we have to put into the transportation? Okay, that we could. I mean, because I know I've just been at the museum a few times here in the last couple of months, and the other day we were out and watching people ripping by there. You know, it's a concern. I mean, she is not wrong. So if we can take at least bring it up for the conversation with the council here at our next meeting, that what are your guys' thoughts? Because I feel that if we can be 60 out there, we should be 60 around residential property in town, so within our town limits. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna bring forward today. So we're gonna move on to director highlights, and we're gonna start with Director Rowe.
Thank you, Worship. Just to let council know, on Monday, we'll have an RCD coming from the Vegreville Cares Coalition for a road closure. If you remember, council approved a road closure for July or June 5th for the downtown kickoff celebration. That was supposed to happen, but due to COVID restrictions, that didn't proceed. So now they are they'd like to request that same road closure for Thursday, September 9th, and it would be for the Harvest to Hope kickoff event. So they want to do a downtown harvest kickoff event. It's been all approved through the chamber and the businesses, same as it was for June 5th. It's just going to be a date change, so that'll be coming on Monday. I don't know if any councillors have had any questions about the man-made pond and the trail, but the garbage and recycling cans, they're going to be installed early next week, and the doggy bag dispenser. And looking at picking up some trees, but I think I might just wait until we get later on in the year, because with this heat and dryness, it's just one more that we have to water. Grass seeding is in progress out there. We'll be getting the concrete blocks to secure the entrances from, I notice there's a couple of tire tracks that are going on the far east side through the field. It doesn't look like they're driving through the crops, but they're definitely going on that fresh dirt. So we'll get that blocked off. The building of the Southwest Trail, we're almost at completion for the I guess, the north half of the southwest leg. That should be completed hopefully this week or early next week. And then the placement of the recycled asphalt millings for the actual trail itself will take place right after that. We have received 19 responses back from the Southwest, and only one was partially opposed to it. But everybody is very excited about the project, so we'll continue working on that. Event Center, Vantage Builders is finishing up some drywall touches, and the bathroom partitions and all the fixtures will be installed on Monday. The kitchen prep area should be completed by this weekend, and we're hopefully going to do a final walkthrough next Wednesday. And as long as all the conditions are met, we'll be ready for opening fairly soon. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Your Worship. We'll talk about our infrastructure projects, just a high helicopter view. The off-site, which is the third portion of our Prosperity Park, is going out for tender. We finished the last review on it this morning. It's going out to tender tomorrow, so we're excited about that. With the 2-week close dates, it'll close on the 28th of this month. And at that point, then we will have 3 solid numbers for this project. We have a pre-bid site inspection, which is common to do with larger projects like this. So we did the same thing with the on-site and with the lift station. So you put out your tender, the generals, those interested in it, will review, look at, go through the plans, and then halfway through we go out on site and we stand there and go, this is what the wetland in, this is where this bores, this is where your houses are, there's the size of the borrow pit, this is where you can get clay, borrow from, so they understand on the ground, not later on, well, I didn't know how far the landfill was, or I didn't know. So we found that really helps to solve your problems when you're in the construction period, because they've been out early. So that happens on the 21st of July. Capital Works, we have our pre-construction meeting, because as you know, E-Construction is the general contractor for that, and that'll be tomorrow. Our local talent, our concrete company, will be starting on the crosswalks on the 50th Street. That starts tomorrow morning. We'll start on 48th Avenue. And just a quick rundown on the process is we're going to remove some of the blocks, make the contractor make a saw cut, remove the curb edging, the crosswalk curb edging, pin, re-pour a new one in, and then after it sets for a few days, then we'll put the blocks back in and open up to traffic. So this is going to be an inconvenience. It is going to disrupt traffic flow, and it may seem to the public, as I've talked to Jameson about, our communications manager, that after the concrete is poured and the blocks are set in a day or two, we still can't open it up to traffic until it's had a chance to cure. So it's gonna look like we're barricaded off and there's nothing happening, but what's happening is the concrete is curing, because if we open it up too soon, it's just gonna bust apart and we'll be doing it again. So that's what we'll have to stress in our press releases to the public, that it has to cure on these areas. And we'll slowly be moving our way north down 50th Street on every intersection. So we wanna start on 48th and see how that goes and what we can learn from it, and keep going as we close traffic down. And we will be going right through up to 52nd Street on the other 52nd Avenue. So that's going to be done first off, and then, like I said, we have our construction meeting for the 2020 Capital Works tomorrow. From there, I'll have a timeline as to when we're starting and when we're going on this project. So that's happy to see. I know the underground contractor, Nico Fork, is very excited. Right after this meeting tomorrow, he would like to probably get started next week, and that's great, because it's just seems odd that we're into July. It doesn't seem odd. It is odd to be in July and we haven't got the shovels turning dirt just yet. But when they do, it's all going to break open as we get closer. That's my report, Your Worship, unless there's any questions.
Oh, that's good. We're still gonna be good for Thursday for Talk of the Town. We're gonna talk about how these projects are gonna move forward, and any heads up that the community's gonna need, and we're gonna talk about that cement curing, and
Yep.
so we'll, okay, perfect.
Yep, I am ready to go for Talk of the Town.
Good. Director Casey.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first thing I have is related to the tax sale date. With all the renovations that we've been doing around here and upstairs, we missed an important date to get stuff to the Alberta Gazette. So we are proposing that the tax sale date move from September 8th, Tuesday, September 8th to Monday, September 13th. So that'll come to council on Monday in a request for council decision to change the tax sale date. The renovations are going well upstairs. The lighting is all done, the ceiling tiles are all done, the flooring is all in place, except for in the bathrooms, which they are coming to finish on Thursday. The furniture is being set up now, and once that furniture is set up, then facilities will come in and get the electrical set up to each one of the desks. So we should be done by the end of next week at the latest, everything. So, and it looks really good, by the way. Looks really good, so. And then I wanted to update council on tax collection. So, as of yesterday, we had collected 73% of our tax levy. At this time last year, we were at 59% of our tax levy. And one large ratepayer who owed us a pile of money in arrears has cleared up his arrears, or their arrears, so. And that is my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Town Manager Cliff Gregg.
Thank you, Your Worship. Attended a meeting with Minister Madhu in preparation and attendance for a meeting with Minister Madhu, yourself, and Deputy Mayor Warawa to discuss repeat offenders and recidivism issues, which is the repeat offender issues. I also attended a conflict of interest webinar presented by Hansel LLP, sponsored through Alberta Council. The Intermunicipal Collaboration Committee, together with Phil Rowe and myself, met with the County ICF Committee to discuss the Fire Services Agreement, and we have ongoing discussions. I am registered to attend the RCMP, or the AUMA RCMP contract negotiation seminar tomorrow to see what their take on this RCMP pay hike increase is about and how it's going to be handled. I will be on vacation from July 30 through August 8, returning to work on August 9. And Director Paul Casey has given his notice that he is retiring from the town of Vegreville, effective December 31st, 2021. So.
It's not a better job, is it?
No, Your Worship, it is not a better job. It is trying to be a better husband and a better father and a better grandfather, so,
Well, that should be easy.
yeah, I hope so.
Thank you, that's my report.
Dave, thank you very much. And yeah, that's what I heard. Okay, so that's what we have on the agenda today. We do have two topics in a closed session coming up here. So at this time, does anybody have anything that they wanted to bring forth for this regular meeting, the ledge meeting? Seeing no hands, I'll take a motion to go in closed session. Councillor Lemko, thank you very much. At 4:59.